Well, good morning and welcome to Wellbeing Wednesdays with the Counseling Center. I'm Shawna Foose, one of the therapists on staff.
And I'm Dr. Jinaki, Flint, one of the other therapists on staff.
So happy to be here. We started this webinar series last spring when everybody had to leave campus, and we wanted to make sure that we were staying in touch. And so we're really excited to be back with you all for season 2. Woo! So today we're going to talk about just some pretty big changes that have happened at the Counseling Center. So I'm going to share my screen. And there we go. All right. Well, the biggest piece of news is we changed our name and our location.
Yeah. And we love it.
Yeah, it's a beautiful new space. So the new location, if you're returning to Tulane, is in the Diebold Complex, also known as the parking garage. And the entrance is across the street from the Riley Center. So if you're looking for the new center, that's where you'll find us, most of us. And the name is new.
Yeah.
So we're no longer called CAPS, we're called the Counseling Center. And we have new hours. So you can access Counseling Center services now, Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday, 9 a.m. to 7 p.m., and Wednesdays, 9:30 to 7, and on Fridays, 9 to 5. So that's, I think, a huge benefit.
That's really huge.
Yeah. Making sure we've got some availability in the evenings.
Yeah, and this is directly heeding the call of students, you know,
Right.
who've been asking for some of this. So this is really great.
Yeah.
A lot of good feedback on it too.
Yeah, we're already hearing that this is creating more accessibility, and you're right. We heard when the students said we needed to have some evening availability, and so we created that. The downtown clinic is also open. That's where I'm seated right now, and we're in the 127 Elk Place building, which is also where the School of Social Work is housed. We're on the 2nd floor, part of the main student health center there. Our hours have remained 8:30 to 5, but any student, even those who are in the downtown programs, can access those evening hours at the Uptown clinic. So you don't have to, if you're a downtown student, you don't have to just use the downtown counseling center. You can also access the Uptown counseling center, and vice versa.
Yeah. You can go after work. Like if you end your work day at 5, you can go to your therapist uptown.
That is right. And the way that you can see your therapist is just like this, via Zoom. So because of COVID-19, we've gone to almost a full telehealth model where our sessions are conducted via Zoom. And I think that really increases accessibility for a lot of our students.
Yes. And those two beautiful ladies down at your bottom right are Miss Charlzetta and Miss Belinda. Charlzetta Beck and Belinda Avila. And they are likely the people that when you call, you will be speaking to. They're very knowledgeable about all the rules that happen here. So give them a call.
Yeah, and they will be able, in most cases, to schedule your first appointment with one of our therapists on that same day, which is also a big change.
Yes, another way we've heeded the call of the students.
Right.
I know they love that.
Yeah. We know that there used to be quite a wait to get that first appointment scheduled. And so we've shifted how you enter our center. And yeah, if you call, you're very likely going to be scheduled that same day and get to speak to a therapist and have a plan, get some recommendations, find out more about the services and how this will all work. But yeah, you get to speak to those two lovely ladies when you call. Yes. So we're so happy to have them.
Oh, for sure.
We're still going to be offering group therapy this semester, and this is a list of the groups that we have available. I think this is just a wonderful list. I think there's something on here for just about everybody.
Yes. Let me move my screen so I'm not blocking. Yes. This is a huge offering. This is like the most groups that we've done ever.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, we come ready this season. The thing that I like is the like COVID-19 support group. Just being able to come and just process around that, because a lot of people do have feeling and thought around it in a space where you can have a container for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think, our attempt here to also create groups that just speak to general wellness,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of mindfulness infused in all of the groups, but some
Yes.
specific mindfulness groups like the Breathe group.
Mm-hmm.
And then
Yes,
also
for sure. And Breathe Group is specifically for graduate students.
right,
So
that's right.
students, if you're a graduate student, that's med student, public health, grad student, mass social work. If you're a graduate student, we have also supports for you in place. And the Breathe Group is one of the major ones. It's real popular with the grad
Yeah,
students. They like it. So and we like serving them.
of
So.
course, absolutely. Yeah. At the same time, kind of the other end of the spectrum, we have groups like Freshman Transition.
Yes.
Which is a group that's just, if you're new to Tulane, this is a strange year to be a freshman in college.
Oh,
you're
yes.
not getting the typical college experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so this might
For
be
sure.
a group where you can come and talk to other freshmen about how hard this is, how difficult this transition is.
Yeah, transitioning to college is not easy. And you're absolutely right, Shawna. Like, transitioning now it sets up a whole nother set of stressors. So, it's good that you do have a place to come where, you can process some of that.
Yeah. And all these groups are run by counseling center clinicians. And if you're interested in the groups, you do that first consultation appointment. So you call Belinda or Charlesetta, schedule your first time appointment. It'll probably be that same day. And the clinician you speak with at the time will talk to you about all the options available, including group. And it's just a really wonderful way to get support through the counseling center and from all of our talented clinicians.
And then they're a great adjunct to therapy as well, just to extend that. And a lot of them offer a lot of learning tools and strategies that, you get in therapy, but you have a different way of kind of expressing in a group. I really like groups.
Yeah, me too. And you make a good point. Some of them are like the stress and anxiety toolkit. Like that's a skill group. That's about learning skills. And as an adjunct to
I love it's activity based, right? It's like, yes.
Nice concrete strategies that you take from group out into your life. And when you couple that sometimes with individual therapy, where you maybe are doing more personal work, those two can really align nicely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, true.
Last season, at the end of each of my little slide decks, I had to have something to make us laugh because I
tell you, I love this.
Right? Well,
I want you guys to write in and talk about who you've seen with the mask on in all these various ways.
No kidding. So yeah, I mean, let's just, talk about that. Like here we are, we're all back on campus. But campus looks so different. I think that, it's a really complicated time and we're seeing each other now with our faces covered, and our professors are behind plexiglass or on the screen. What a strange time we're living through.
Certainly different. Certainly different. And and having students adjust to that, like there may be many ways in which people are trying to just make it happen and adjust. I was walking on campus yesterday, and I've been seeing students have been very compliant
Yeah.
with the masking and staying apart from each other. I mean, I was walking and a young woman walked all the way over. I was like, yes, social distance.
Yeah.
Yeah, so students are totally thinking about this and just being in this time. I think everybody, what I see students doing is just trying to make the best of it and get their education. And I was just thinking, like, what dedication that is. Like,
Right.
geez,
Yeah. And it takes so much conscious awareness all the time. Every time you step out the door. I mean, I know I've had several mornings where I've walked out to my car and walked back in my house to get my mask.
Just this morning, that was me.
I finally put like 4 masks in my purse so that I'm covered if I really forget.
I keep them in my glove box now because just in case.
Yeah, but like it's such a new normal that we're still adjusting to. And I think, I think we're in month 7 or so of this for this part of the country. And, I feel like there's some expectation, at least I have an expectation myself, like I should be used to this by now. I'm still not used to it. It still takes a lot of thought to be out in the world and think about my fellow humans,
It does. You're really pulling a lot from your prefrontal because you have to do a lot of thought and kind of tactical movement. Like,
Right.
You have to think about every move now, in terms of, and you have to make a set shift, which is all up here. Right.
Yeah.
So you may start to feel a little more fatigued and tired at the end of the day than you normally would. Studies have shown that it's not because you're not getting enough oxygen with the mask on. That's not true.
Right. Because you're using more energy.
Because you are overworking this part.
Yeah,
because of all the attention that you have to pay. So, it's important for you to know that if you do start to feel some of that fatigue, that it's probably because you really are walking around kind of, making sure that things are safe.
Yeah. Yeah. So then that makes me think, especially for our students who are using their prefrontal cortexes regularly, academically. Yeah. And now we're saying, well, there's this added pull. Mm-hmm. So what's a way to give that prefrontal cortex a rest? What are your recommendations? You
have to be able to take a couple of minutes to just sit, right? Or to just listen to the body and what it wants to do. So sometimes we'll be sitting in stillness and the body just won't be still. And so what tends to happen is people then start to say, well, what's wrong with me? I can't be still. Then don't get up and move.
Right. You have to really kind of tune in your intuition.
Yes. Let it lead you and start a process of taking a few minutes to come out of your thoughts and into the rest of your body, right? Because that's what's getting activated. That's creating all of these symptoms of fatigue and anxiety and all these other things. Yeah. And so being able to be still and breathe using that body, right? The breath, lowering your blood pressure and getting the body back to some sense of balance, right? Yeah. Cooling off, calming this backside of the brain down that keeps that worry, maintains that anxiety, tells you all those things and stops this from getting activated.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So when we're walking around like that, we have to then take some moments to ourselves. And these things don't cost anything. You can do this 2 minutes, 3 times a day. That's 6 minutes in a 24-hour period, right? Yeah. You can take a bath. If you don't have a bathtub, take a shower.
Right.
Put some oil, like some lavender oil on a cotton ball in your shower. Yeah. And let the steam just take you away. So do something where you can kind of just be with yourself for a few moments and feel that you have done something for yourself. Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
No matter what's happening. So that's one of the things. And of course, the major thing is if you feel that this is really throwing off your game or something is not right, call us. We're here.
Yeah, don't go it alone. Find support.
Right, you're not alone. I always tell people, like, once you get on this campus, even before, you are part of a family. And there is one phone number, you're only one phone call away or
Yeah.
email away from some type of help and assistance for whatever it is that you need. There are a
Yeah.
lot of resources on this campus,
Right.
and easy resources. So it's not like, oh, call the number and you're going to get 5 people before you get to the person. No, there's like a direct line to whatever service that you need. So please use it.
Yeah. Yeah. Don't hesitate to reach out. But I think something you were saying a minute ago really resonated for me, that if you do try to take a moment, give your mind a minute to kind of come down. It's not like a light switch.
Right.
It's like busy, your brain's busy. And so you think, okay, I'm going to do what Shawna and Jinaki said. I'm going to like sit down and breathe. And you're like, but I can't.
Right.
Well, you got to give it a sec. Let the glitter
Right.
fall,
And not judge it when it does, because
Right.
sometimes it's harder. Some days you'll be able to do it with regularity and you'll be like, yes, I got this. And then
Yeah.
there's that one day when you have that day and that brain is like womp womp womp,
Yeah.
so it is important, what John Kabat-Zinn talks about, mindfulness, when as he describes it, is being paying attention on purpose in a specific way without judgment.
Right. And
Right.
that's hard.
Yes. And that is the hard, that without judgment part,
Right.
that's the part. That part.
And even if you attempt to practice a mindful moment and it's not great, it's still
Right.
valuable. You still did something good for your brain.
Right.
Even if you felt like your brain was still really busy, it still has an impact. So yeah, there's no A's in mindfulness. It's
Exactly.
worth doing every time.
Love it. That's true. So you have to give yourself some love and compassion around it. Like, be gentle with yourself around holding a space for yourself, and holding your own container.
Yeah.
Being able to do that is, and I always say, you don't get toned muscles from one push-up.
Right. The practice.
So if you're doing it once and then like, well, that didn't work.
Yeah.
Like,
It's
could
a
you do
muscle.
it again and again and again? It's repetition. It's rep sets, right? So do your own mental hits, right?
Yeah, exactly. And the brain scans even show that the part of the brain where mindfulness lives grows gray matter the more you practice, right? It actually builds a little brain muscle.
Yeah.
Right.
And when we're talking about the life stage too of emerging adulthood, the myelination is still taking place up here.
Yeah.
So that actually definitely helps to strengthen, that myelination, and help it to grow in a more consistent way when we are actually engaging in a practice to connect with it.
Right. Brains are pattern seeking. They want to run down the same paths over and over.
Right.
So
right.
what thoughts you think and what practices you do mentally, that helps lay down those pathways so you can really build pathways that become easier to use every time.
Yes. Perfect habit formation. So you want to get your neuronal groove to identify that every time, because the body will remember.
Yeah.
So the body remembers whatever you lay down, the tracks you lay down, it will run for you. Yeah. And so it's important that you know that you have the power to do it.
Right. Absolutely. And yeah, if you have a habit that you don't love, that you don't feel like is serving you well, it's not hard to establish a new one. It just takes repetition.
Yeah. And that's the work. That's the work part of it, right? It doesn't always feel comfortable. Some days it feels awkward. Yeah. You'll have a plethora of emotions around it, but if you stick with it for any good length of time, I always say the people say, because it's like, who really knows? But the 21-day habit formation, and then there's a 90-day continuance of that, right? But if you can just cut yourself some slack and do it when you can, right? Yeah. There are days when you may feel it and you may really want to start that. So start your practice, but there is no expectation of success. The success is in how you feel right?
Yeah.
And what it's doing for you. And so neither one of us can tell you what success is because you
Right.
know your bodies better than we ever will.
Right. One thing I often share too is that for myself, I have a little mantra of I'm consistently inconsistent. So I've never been great at keeping a routine.
Mhm.
And so let's say meditation, for example. Maybe I did do 30 days straight of mindfulness every day for 30 days. And then I missed a day for whatever reason. I used to then feel bad about that and be like, well, I'm a quitter. And then not practice for a long period of time because I told myself I quit. And when I shifted that to actually, I'm just consistently inconsistent, I always come back to it.
Mhm.
It gets me back to that habit I want to have much more quickly.
Mhm.
I'm less likely to take weeks and weeks off from something important to me, and it's more like a couple of days.
Right.
So the promise to myself is I'm consistently inconsistent. I will fall off from time to time, but I always come back to those things that are important to me. And that goes for like fitness and
Mhm.
mindfulness and all
Mhm.
that sort of thing. So
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. That's a beautiful reframe, right?
yeah, that's
Just
all it
tell
is.
yourself, state the facts.
Right,
You know,
right.
sometimes you just got to state, you have to be with what it is,
Yeah.
not avoid what it is, right?
Yeah, and not get
Um,
trapped in the negative
mhm.
self-talk that will just perpetuate the thing you
Mhm.
don't want to be doing.
Right,
Huh, that's not what we're aiming for.
right.
So yeah, it's a
Yeah.
reframe that helps me stay plugged into growth, right? Like I'm just gonna be as consistent as I can, and sometimes I'm gonna be inconsistent, but I consistently return. So
Hmm.
that's where I land.
Right, right. And that is a perfect example of giving yourself love and compassion around it,
Hmm.
right? It's
Yeah,
that you don't have to really give it all that story. You don't have to give it a storyline.
yeah,
You can just know that it is what it is here. You can accept that this is where you are,
yeah,
and that's what I love that because that is exactly what it is. It's like just accept what is here for you in
yeah,
this moment,
yeah,
right? And I think once we start to accept those things start to change, like light bulbs start to go off at a certain point, because we can kind of get in our way with the negative self-talk.
yeah. I mean, struggling against yourself, that doesn't
Mhm.
get you anywhere. You're your
Yeah,
best friend in this journey, right? Like,
yeah, yeah.
yeah,
And it's important to separate what is happening to you from who you are.
yeah,
Oftentimes people bring it as a character. That negative talk is like, this is a part of my character. i
yeah. I'm a
am i
quitter.
am anxiety, I
Yeah,
am this, right?
yeah,
And it's it's very common for people to do that. I mean, it feels bad. I mean, it feels
right,
uncomfortable.
right.
um, but that is something that is happening to you, around you. It's a way of reacting to the environment, but it is not you. It's
Yeah,
not who you are, right?
yeah,
And so people are like, what's wrong with me, right?
yeah,
That's a big one. The what's wrong with me.
yeah.
There's nothing wrong with you. And that is not a minimization of your pain. It is really in honoring of your power, you know, to just say that no, this is not a character flaw. This is
Mm-hmm.
something that is just happening to you because you're having some body experiences. These emotions are what they are. They're private experiences,
Right.
human experience.
I love that, and it
Mhm.
reminds us that those emotional states are uh, in flux. They move around. So how you feel now isn't necessarily how you'll feel in a
All the
couple of
time.
hours.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm. So true.
yeah. Something else you said, Janaki, that
Temporary.
yeah,
The
that's
temporary. Mhm.
yeah.
Mhm.
Get that word like in your head.
Mhm.
Um, Something else that you said that I feel like
Yes.
is so helpful is this idea of getting into your body and finding, um, some presence in your body. And there's so many great ways to go about that. There's,
Mhm.
fitness, yoga, dancing. What
Mhm.
else? There's so many ways to just be present in your body, like progressive muscle
Mhm.
relaxation, and really move kind of out of here and into here.
Mhm. 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 Right. So progressive muscle relaxation, for those who are hearing that for the first time,
Yeah.
is a lovely technique and practice of traveling through the body, scanning the body, doing tensing and releasing. So you get a sense of what the body feels like in tension and relaxation and release. And so that is one of the things that you can learn. You can actually Google that if you want to learn more. But if you want to actually engage with a therapist here, you can call CAPS.
Yeah.
Not CAPS, the Counseling Center, and and learn more about it in any of our groups, and especially our skills-based groups.
Right.
And you can also learn that with PMR is a really, really good way to, I like to use that as a segue into how to really go into the body. It's a very, to me, it works for me as a very good of identifying body sensation.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. Um, yeah, and something I hear sometimes, especially from new students, like freshmen or students who are new in a grad program, is that maybe in high school or in another time in their life, they had an activity they did really regularly. Maybe they were in athletics or they were in dance or cheer or something like that. And when they come into college, they don't have that. And they're just not getting the level of physical activity their body is accustomed to. And so if that's the case, I think it's real important to try to find some activity that the body remembers, right? And get out and move your body in some way that's familiar, because your body will really miss it. And those muscle fibers will really hold a lot that needs to be released. And it can really help, I think, with any kind of stress or tension that you might be feeling in your mind, to get those muscles to work that stuff out.
Mm-hmm. That is so true, because the body does remember. And when you couple that with stress, then you have a lot of stuck energy in the body that you're not naturally expending because you're not moving it.
Yeah, yeah. So again, if you're not sure about all that, I think I'm going to plug us again, but therapists are great for helping you kind of remember what used to work or explore what you maybe haven't tried but could work. And, you know, it's our passion. That's our favorite thing to do, is help people grow and find a better way of being as just a human. And we can certainly feel, you know, that this is a difficult time. You know, we're experiencing this pandemic too. And so our empathy is heightened right now, I think, to know like this is hard. And I think that's why it's even more important, all the ways we take care of our bodies and our minds.
Right. It can definitely set up some discomfort. It feels really difficult in this moment because there is very real threat, right? But you know, we operate from a worldview that many things can be true at once. Right. So just because something is hard doesn't mean it's the end.
Right.
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 It doesn't mean that that's a permanent state of mind. So things can be difficult, and you can also find joy, right? You can find joy in learning about who you are in these difficult times. So multiple things can be true.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. I think we're close to the end of our time. We might want to give a little preview of some of the episodes to come. So Wellbeing Wednesdays will air every Wednesday. And Jinaki and I will be welcoming several guests, so many wonderful colleagues and partners. We have topics ranging from relationships, LGBTQ stuff, politics, navigating family relationships and
relationships. Yes, I can't wait for that one.
Yeah.
There's some good stuff coming.
We do. We're certainly going to be talking about race and racism, and making sure that we're keeping all of the social justice mindset up front and center. What else are we going to do? We're going to have some international student
Yes.
episodes.
We're going to be talking about undocumented students. We have a segment on that. So we're covering the entire, we're really trying to cover our students, right?
Right.
We are, because everybody's showing up on campus with something going on. And in the age of COVID, you're still bringing your life and your lives here. So let's not forget that you're bringing you to it. So that we don't get so overwhelmed by what COVID is doing, COVID-19, that we forget that, we're bringing our own intersections into this. Onto this campus. And so we want to just be ready for that. So I think, is this a good way to talk about our community engagement?
I think it's perfect.
So we have we also have an expanded community engagement force here now. So we have areas of focus around LGBTQIA+. We have Latinx and not undocumented, DACA. But that also covers undocumented students. In the international student advocate too, covers undocumented. We have an eating concerns and sexual trauma advocate. We have a virtual programs advocate, which our lovely co-host Shawna is definitely spearheading that in some very powerful ways. So yes, I'm grateful for that. And then we have a substance use and education advocate in Dr. Austin. I didn't say people's names, but so we have, but you will learn them as we go. And we have, of course, me, Jinaki, Dr. Flint, as the racial equity advocate. So we have really covered a lot. So if you want to know more about us, you can go to our website, the Counseling Center website, and you can also see all of the information about us and how to request a community engagement activity. So we offer workshops, different programs, seminars. Everything is virtual via Zoom this semester until further notice. So you can just go online and you can make a request, and you can do it by area of focus. So we have a menu. So if there's something that you're looking at that specifically you want to do with international students, you can go and you can select that. If you want a seminar or a workshop or something on stress and anxiety management, you can select that. So we try to make this really efficient for everybody, because the last thing you want to do is have some confusion around just getting that type of service to you. So we've tried to, and of course, any suggestions are absolutely welcome. If we can meet them, we will. This semester, we have a lot of requests, so we may not get to everybody this semester, but we have the whole year to figure it out. So I just wanted to drop in and talk a little bit about that. You'll be seeing more from us though.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's really exciting that we've been able to branch out into this virtual world and provide a lot of outreach to all parts of our community and try to really embrace everyone. And I think, the request form will tell us a lot about what you all want to see in these episodes too, you know, so we'll be getting some idea of what the community really needs. And we can bring that every Wednesday. So tell your friends and follow Campus Health on social media, and then you'll get a reminder every week about the newest episode coming out, and look for us every Wednesday.
Yes.
Yay!
Yes. Tune in.
Okay.
Exciting things.
So excited. It's so exciting to get this season underway, and we will see everyone back here next Wednesday.
Yeah. Thank you, Shawna.
Thanks, Jinaki.